Joining me today is Chuck West out of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Out of an audience of more than 250,000 agents nationwide, Chuck has been selected to represent Broker Agent Advisor as this month's Broker Agent of the Month for the entire state of Wyoming. And Chuck, it's a privilege to recognize you for your contribution to this industry, and congratulations on the recognition. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be selected. It is quite an honor. Don't know if I'm the only one that should recognize this, but since you put me in that position, I'll be glad to accept the honor.
Good. You've been in this business a while. You are an easy candidate for this election. My desire is in just a few minutes of those that get a chance to watch this, for them to get a sense for who you are and maybe a little bit about why you were selected. And so I thought we'd have just a short conversation. Let's start by talking about being in real estate. There's a lot of things you could potentially do. Why this business? Why did you become a realtor?
Well, when I graduated from UCLA, it was with an engineering degree, and I had a college roommate whose father owned a Century 21 franchise, and we had discussed, after we both graduated, an investment program. And that investment program was to save money and buy apartment buildings together way back in 1972. And in doing so, I found that real estate was more in my blood than engineering. So what I had done is I not only made my first investment 1 year out of college with my partner, but also began to sell apartment buildings to fellow engineers while I was still working as an engineer. And within a year, I made more money doing that than I was making as an engineer. So I decided, well, it's time to do this full time. So that's basically how I got into it. And I've never really sold residential real estate, even though apartments, some people consider residential, but it's basically a commercial investment. And that's what I've been doing for 40 years.
What do you, man, 40 years is a long time. Most people don't realize how hard this business is, and they get in with enthusiasm and the expectation that they're going to make a bunch of money. And then they realize, holy cow, this business is really hard. And, you know, I don't know if most people realize it, but 9 out of 10 agents fail. They don't make it. And you've been here 40 years. What do you find most rewarding about it?
Yeah. And the hardest part is, in fact, starting out, because you have a lot of expenses and a lot of new things to learn. And a lot of people don't have the capitalization. It's just like starting any business. You better be prepared for a few lean months. And it's more important to join groups, get to know a lot of people, whether it be Toastmasters, your church, a dance club, whatever. Those things are important because that's how you get your name out. It's not just by sending a newsletter. So.
What's brought you the most satisfaction? What do you find? What kind of gives you energy about being in this business?
Well, the fun part is once you're established, it's not anymore selling ice cubes to the Eskimos. People realize that you offer something of value. You've done it yourself as your own personal investment, and you've achieved advanced degrees, if I can use that term. In my case, CCIM, and I got a law degree on top of it. And those benefits, along with your experience, make it an easy business to get to know new people, get to know new businesses, and it's the joy of every day is different. It's not like pounding widgets or in engineering, measuring the impedance. Every day is different, and I like that that diversity in not only who you meet, but every problem in real estate is different. And even after 40 years, I still run into things that I'd never think were possible. So,
of course, yeah, it's certainly one of the reasons why it's hard is because it's hard. Yeah, there's new problems that present themselves every day. Right. I've not spent any time in Cheyenne, Wyoming, although I would honestly love to go see it. Talk to me a little bit about why Cheyenne, Wyoming is such a great place to live, work, and play and be a part of this industry.
Well, I grew up in Southern California, and Southern California, when I grew up, was a different state than it is today. And the onerous taxation and regulation, uh, like many others, drove me out of the state 10 years ago. And why did I pick Wyoming? Well, I started by doing an analysis of which states have no income tax, and expanded that Excel spreadsheet to include other items such as sales tax, property tax, what the state political environment was, etc. So the bottom line is, my wife and I travel a lot, so we wanted to be close to an international airport. Wyoming has no international airports, but Denver is an hour and a half away from Cheyenne. So frankly, that's why we picked Cheyenne out of any other place in the state. Most Californians prefer Jackson. But Wyoming in general is just, it's a free state. No taxes, no income tax on corporations. When you form an entity, you don't need to be an attorney. It costs $100 to form a corporation or an LLC. The filing fees are cheap compared to other states. And the annual fee charged by the Secretary of State is only $50.
Wow.
Compared to California's $1,000 or whatever it is now. So taxation was a big deal. There are other aspects. A lot of people think, well, I don't want to go into snow country. Well, one of the biggest surprises to us is, even though it's cold in the winter, we really don't get that much snow. And it's not an issue for us. I mean, we could build our own house here. We sold a 100-year-old house in South Pasadena, California for $1 million, and built a 3,500 square foot house with a basement on top of that for $400,000, including the land, in the best neighborhood in Cheyenne. So with those kind of discrepancies, it just made it an easy choice, because when you look at no tax states, it becomes, do you want to be in hot weather, hot, humid Houston or Florida, or would you prefer ideal weather half the year and get a little cold in the winter, but if you have a few bucks, you fly to the Caribbean?
I hope that's how you spend your winters, Chuck.
Well, not the whole winter, because I still am doing business, so I can't stay away too long or my clients get mad. So,
man, we've had an interesting time with this pandemic. We've had some really interesting market conditions the last 18 to 24 months. We've had unprecedented low inventory. It's been a tough business to be in, and not necessarily pertaining directly to that, but 40 years in the business. If you were to give a peer in this business a single piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
The advice that I would give is never stop learning, whether it be getting an advanced degree, taking courses, whether they're mandated by the state or not. You've got to keep up with the changing environment we're in, and that it covers a wide variety of fields: law, taxation, how to handle difficult clients, you name it. There's always a course out there. But to think you know it all is a big mistake, and you've got to keep learning.
Yeah, I love that. And part of the reason why you were chosen is your desire for that very thing. Continuous improvement for me is an important pillar in life philosophy. Chuck, it's been a privilege to get to know you a bit. I appreciate your wisdom and knowledge about the business. I've enjoyed our conversation. I feel privileged to be here and just celebrate you and your contributions to the industry. And congratulations again on the recognition. I wish you nothing but success the rest of the way.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.